I want to talk about this shooting that took place in Winslow, Arizona. It's been a little bit of time since this happened, but I didn't want to let it go by too long without talking about it because I think this is another case of where the police went way, 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 way too far. They killed this young lady. She was actually a mother, a Navajo woman. Let me see if I can find her picture real quick. This is a little thumbnail of her. But what happened was that she was, the police had been notified that there was a shoplifting. The officer showed up and confronted her. It looked like he confronted her. And when he confronted her, um, you can't really hear what's going on in the video. I'll put the video. I put the video below. You can watch it. You don't really hear what's going on, but you kind of see him grab her and throw her like really easily. Like you can't tell by how big this guy is. You can see a picture of him later, but in this photo, it looks like he throws her fairly easily, and then she hits the ground and her items go flying every which way. Then apparently she gets up. She has a scissor. She tries to attack him, and he kills her. Shoots her in the chest a bunch of times. This is just absolutely uncalled for and ridiculous. And the fact that their city isn't willing to do anything about this just shows how ridiculous this has gotten. But this is a young mother. I mean, look at she's a young mother, and the guy, and don't tell me because he was huffing and puffing after this video that he was in fear for his life, because that's what they make it sound like. If you listen to the video, after you see the graphic part of the video, it starts with some audio, and he's huffing and he's puffing. Oh, she came at me, he's going on. If I believe for a second that he felt in fear of this woman, because she had a pair of scissors, you got to be absolutely crazy to believe that, especially watching the what happened, because he threw her around like nothing. I mean, you can see he had a physical superiority over her as far as his being size and strong, and he wasn't fearing her coming after him with a pair of scissors. Especially if you look at the video, the fact that there's another officer coming up right behind her. So there's two guys there. This woman that just got basically thrown to the ground like she was nothing but garbage. It's thrown to the ground. She gets up, obviously in anger from being thrown to the ground, and he just hauls off and pops 5 caps into her, however many shots he puts into her, and everybody thinks this is okay. Okay, first thing is, I don't advocate arguing with the police or not doing what the police say to do. Absolutely 100% of the time, comply with the police officers. They're there for a reason. You should give them all their due respect. Police officers don't take jobs to go wrestle with everybody all day long. They don't need it. I mean, I wouldn't do it, and neither would anybody else. It's not the greatest job in the world. When you got to show up, and every day you got to show up, you got to catch attitude from somebody, and somebody's going to give you a hard time for asking them to do the simplest things. That's bullshit, and you shouldn't do that. Cops shouldn't have to put up with that. They need to be respected, and they need to be treated with some authority, like you should do. That's just what you should do. But when somebody doesn't do that, right down to the very, they shouldn't be able to just open up and kill them like they're doing. I mean, this is just beyond. I mean, they did the same thing with the kid up in Fresno when they opened up with him on the shotgun. He's laying on the ground. He's been shot twice. They're asking him to raise his hands. Obviously, been shot in the stomach twice. You're not going to be, easily reacting to whatever command that they're giving you, and they shoot him with a shotgun. I mean, absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I think we have to weigh and balance the officers being able to protect themselves against the officers just being able to open up and shoot somebody whenever they feel like they're having the least little bit of threat against them. And in this case, don't tell me he felt threatened. Absolutely no way in the world does that guy feel threatened from the way he threw her to the ground, and how easily she fell, and how she just basically just flattened out on the ground after he threw her down, that she got up and all of a sudden he was in fear of his life, especially with another officer within just arm's reach of her. Another officer could literally have grabbed her in just a second, because he was coming up, if you watch the video. So once again, another ridiculous shooting, another ridiculous killing, a completely unjustified, unreasonable killing that is going to be chalked up to, well, we need to protect the police. We need to protect the police. We need to allow them to be able to protect themselves. And if we don't draw a line, a better, more clear line as far as what their right to protect themselves is. We're going to continue to come up with this kind of stuff, and people aren't going to be safe when they're around the police, and then that's going to even cause more anxiety and more opportunities for police to kill people or shoot people or other people to react to the people. So this is just not a good deal for either side, and it probably needs to be dealt with in a more matter-of-fact way. Everybody says training, but what I think the training's doing now, from what I see, is the training's just training the cops to be more protective. I mean, if you watch any of these videos now, the cops are superly protective, overly protective. They don't allow, even with a person like me, who's about as non-threatening as possible. One time I was pulled over for a speeding ticket, and the guy was quite a few cars. He was sitting in his car, maybe a car or two behind me, and I just opened my door. It was just a matter of trying to, you know, open the door because I'd been on a long trip and I just wanted to step outside and stretch for a bit. And he had a fit. I mean, he ordered me back into the car and just, really got on me, And like I say, I'm probably the last guy in the world anybody would be considering a threat. So that's what it is. I hope I don't see any more of this stuff. I see there's another one in Chicago, and these will continue as long as there's, as long as people don't say anything. And I mean, this is the venue where hopefully people could say stuff. You can put a video up like this. Who knows if anybody watches it, or who knows if anybody even cares. But people need to express their opinions. They need to put them up on video. They need to, let people know what they think, and let people listen to it. I mean, people are out there. They are looking for content to listen to, and hopefully they pick up on something like this, and they do take an opinion, and they do say something. And the other thing too is maybe sometimes these police officers should be more personally responsible for these acts and not hide behind, the police department or the taxpayer. If you look at some of these, right here, I saw in the Wall Street Journal how how many lawsuits are being settled for these kind of cases. So the taxpayer is forking over a huge amount of money for this kind of stuff. Maybe these police officers should have to pay for a little bit of it themselves, or maybe they should be responsible for it. I know there's a lot of stuff goes on once a shooting like this takes place, and I know the police officers are under scrutiny more, and there are probably investigations. So why in the world these guys want to do this is more than I can understand. They alter so many lives. They alter their own life. They alter the person that they killed's life, and then they alter the family's life of the person that got killed and everybody around them for a simple, brief second of feeling a little bit threatened. They change all these lives and cost all this money. So, I know there's a lot of police officers out there, and there's a lot of really good police officers. I see them all the time. But I know there's some bad ones too, and obviously people like this are the bad ones. And I know for the amount of people that are doing this job, there's a certain number of them that aren't going to be fully up to the job, even no matter how much screening or testing or whatever you do. But if that's the case, which it looks like it is, there's got to be some sort of personal accountability, some sort of standard that they got to be held to. And the other thing too, everybody's held to a certain standard. I mean, if you drive a car and you hurt somebody, you're going to be held to a standard. Even though you got a driver's license and you're licensed by the state and everything else to drive a car, you still have to have some personal responsibility by driving a car. These cops can't just skate off and say, it's not my problem. I felt threatened, and now all we have to do is determine, did he feel threatened or did he not feel threatened, or did she feel threatened or did she not feel threatened? And if we think there's the slightest, most remote chance that there was any kind of threat to the officer, we're just, we pay the bills, we take care of all the problem. The person goes on, they have to deal with it. Maybe they get a little bit of money from a lawsuit, maybe they don't, but everything just keeps going on, and there's no consequences, or there's no ramifications, because we've just decided that the officer's life was so threatened. But anyway, this family's suing. If I was on the jury, or if that's being decided by a jury, how I would decide. I'd make sure the city of Winslow paid for this, and paid for it dearly. And I would hope that it would come out of all the people that work for. And I've been to Winslow, Arizona. It's not a very prosperous place. It looks like it's poor. And why these people want to have this kind of a problem in that small town and deal with these kind of issues more than I can understand. But like I say, I hope this young lady and her family gets justly rewarded for this, and I hope they get a good attorney to defend him. Because if I was in that jury, or had a hand in this ability to make some sort of a compensation for her or some sort of a damage reward for her, I would certainly do it. So anyway, that's all I got to say, and I appreciate you listening. Thank you.